Hey guys, welcome to another video based on looting. It's kind of like a loot guide for the latest update DayZ Standalone 0.57, which was pushed to stable a few days ago now. And it's really a look at general looting. 95% of the looting that we do. In this video, I don't look at military loot so much as in going to heli crash sites or to bases. This is just general looting, but there is some military loot included. The first building I'm looking at here is what you call the food house. Well, it's not a food house anymore. It is now a clothes house. You won't necessarily find any food in this location. It's the yellow and blue house that you often see around the map, but it's now really a focus for clothing. But there are two really important spaces which have been added to the latest stable update, which have been in experimental. The first is this one here. This is the guard post, the admin building on the edge of industrial zones in Cherna, sort of fact all around the map. And you can see here there is a sick amount of loot. You can get military loot here. You can get clothing, ammo, all sorts of stuff, vests. There's some really good stuff here. This is in stable. It was in experimental, so some people do know about this. But if you don't know, find these buildings and you will get yourself some loot. Okay, this is one of the best places to go. You can also go inside the building, but there's nothing in the building as yet. These are prime locations. That's the first really big change to stable. The second one is the deer stand. Now these are littered around the map, and they are great for ammo and scopes and other hunting paraphernalia like traps and axes and stuff like that. And you can see there, it's amazing. They are great. Look out for those. Also, guns, civilian guns, primary weapons are now spawning far more frequently in just standard houses. You could find them before, but now it seems like they are much more common. You can see some examples here. And it's not just houses, but they're also spawning in these garages. You can see there's an example there. And shops. In fact, it seems that guns, primary weapons, are spawning in lots of locations. And any house that you may go into, you may find yourself a gun, even some ammo. And that sometimes does happen with the most recent update. Now, it's also a profusion of splitting axes around, as well as loads of food. Okay, so cans of food seem to be everywhere on unlooted servers. This is all on unlooted servers. Okay, they are just about everywhere, and there certainly doesn't need to be any need to capture animals or do that type of thing at the moment. We'll see whether they adjust that. Bags still spawn in the back of these vehicles, as you can see here. And ammo seems to be spawning fairly commonly around the map. It certainly isn't too difficult to get hold of that types of ammo. I'm finding that some vehicles are OP and some aren't. You get little areas of vehicles where there's no stuff, but then you get an example like this where you can see chainsaws and axes and drinks. And those vehicles there, also ones that open up at the back, are quite good. Bus stops have a few items, which has changed from experimental, and press vests seem to be spawning randomly in buildings. Now there is a new big school. You can see it here. It has all sorts of things around it. The school itself has some items of clothing, largely pants are spawning, the new hunter's pants. There seems to be a lot of them in this school. I don't know what the hell happened here. You also find them on the roof. I suspect they'll tinker with this and allow other items to spawn in this location. Fire stations, we've got a lot more helmets spawning at fire stations, things like binoculars, handguns, loads of firefighters' axes. It's not difficult to get hold of a firefighter's axe. So items specific to locations. And we can see that with the police stations as we come on here. You can see they're theming the spawning loot much more readily now. So handcuffs, stun batons. We've got things like anti-stab vests there. There's quite a few anti-stab vests, and what else have we got in here? The Makarov, which is going to be probably the most common weapon in game. There seem to be loads of Makarovs around, as well as loads of clips spawning, not just in police stations, but at the guard post, which we saw earlier in this video. So you can get handcuffs, you can get a range of things. There's another Makarov there, and also racks and MP5 spawn there. The red brick building has also become more of a clothing house. You could get some good food here before, but there's loads of clothing in this particular building. And these clothing explosions can randomly appear in some other houses. This is the red two-story house here. You can see loads of clothing. And the granny house, or the gun house, now is also a closed house. You will not be able to get guns at this location. Maybe some ammo, potentially. I have also noticed that some of the car yards, where you've got these crashed out cars, aren't spawning as much loot as they were previously. On the last patch, you would have lots of backpacks in these locations. That doesn't seem to be the case anymore, and other bits and pieces as well. But you can still get a little treat, such as a clip for a carbine. So definitely worth a visit. I'm also finding that these trailers, these blue trailers, aren't spawning weapons as commonly as they were before. It seems that there's more miscellaneous items going into these locations, and that string and rope and burlap sacks are sometimes spawned together, which I think is something that they've done purposely, so you can build backpacks such as that. So they're not as good as they used to be. Now, toilets were big in XP and lots of stuff was spawning, but it seems like one item is now spawning in a toilet, and it could be a range of things, but I'm finding quite a few drinks are spawning in toilets, and crazy random items like face masks. One of the surprise locations I'm finding are these garages, these sheds here. I'm finding all sorts of food in these locations, as well as weapons and a bunch of other stuff, and we saw previously a shotgun as well. But this sums it up for me, the update. So this house here, the yellow house with the storage room on the right, has a clip. We've got some food, 3 or 4 cans of food listed around there, and then in the back here we have a primary weapon, the carbine on the floor there, tucked away. It kind of sums up. This is the kind of random nature of the update, but there's loads of loot. It's a really good update, and there's a lot more people back in. We're seeing lots of fighting, lots of conflicts, because there is more loot. So in my eyes, this update is a really good thing for DayZ Standalone, and it's certainly upped the stakes as far as the combats and as far as situations, as far as getting yourself equipped is concerned. It's much easier, guys. So I hope you found this guide useful. If you're interested in finding out more about military loot, I'm looking at doing a guide for that. But it's pretty much the same as it was before, except we have a few other weapons that have been added into the game, which are fairly precious and rare. Guys, hope you found this useful. If you did, click the thumbs up and leave any comments below, and I will see you in the next video.